Good morning. It's Tuesday, June 23rd, 2020, and you're watching Up to the Minute. I'm Brittany Pacheco, still filling in for Todd Duplantis, but I am joined today by none other, the man, the legend, Frank Cooper. Good morning, Frank.
Reunited, and it feels so good, Britt. I feel like we haven't done a show in forever.
It's been a minute since you've been on here, especially as a co-host. We did have you some time back as a guest, but now you're co-hosting with me.
I'm in my rightful throne, you know what I'm saying? So I feel good. I feel good right now.
Well, Frank, tell them about our social media, man.
Please follow on social media, guys. We got Facebook, we got Snapchat, Twitter, Instagram. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, man. We're cooking like hotcakes over here, man. Please follow us. Grow the show, guys.
I appreciate it, Frank. I'll come and talk to you in a little bit. But first, I want to introduce our guests for today from Central College. And if you haven't noticed, I'm wearing one of the shirts. It should kind of give you a clue as to who we have as a guest today. We've got Karl Mayes from the Office of Student Life. Karl, good morning.
Good morning, Brittany. Good morning to all you wonderful, faithful viewers. I'm excited to be here. I'm excited. I'm just excited.
Yes, sir. And also from Central College, from the Horticulture program, and also a biology instructor and the Science Club advisor. We have Dr. Dalton McWhinney. Good morning, Dr. McWhinney.
Good morning. I'm glad to be here.
We're so glad for you to be here as well, Dr. McWhinney. We'll come talk to you in just a little bit, but first I want to talk to my friend Karl Mayes over here, who they've got a lot going on in student life, and it was crazy before COVID hit. And from what we can tell, you guys have not stopped.
Yeah, it's been a whirlwind. I mean, I think making the adjustment to online, it was a little of a daunting task, but at the same time, I think we were up for it. The one thing that I can say is that, I know the nuance of internet and being able to use it, even us being like this. I mean, we're connected, but we're still kind of disconnected. However, we decided to be able to, come up with some ideas to be able to keep our students locked in. And one of the things we say, we are what we call the monotony breakers, right? So student life is like, not just fun, but just even if it's programming that shows students, something that's full of, a certain type of content, that it can still be kind of fun and connecting as well. So one of the things we wanted to do is just make sure that no matter what they did, even in this change of this COVID-19, we'll still be able to have something that connected them to the institution. I think we've, kind of kept everybody pretty busy, because, things and events are flying around like frisbees. But this has been, a whirlwind of, differentiation. But it's been good so far.
So let's go back a little bit when we first were told that we weren't coming back to the campuses. And how did that impact student life? Because you guys do mostly everything on site. So how was it from transitioning from on-site activities to remote activities?
Initially it was like, well, for myself, I mean, again, I deal in the internet world, the podcast world, but just being able to try to manifest the thought of how do you keep all of those students, not just at my campus, but at the other campuses too, kind of linked and involved in. And we were like, man, we got to, the cool thing we had is, our texting situation and also our listserv as far as emails. So we were just like, okay, where can we direct them to? How do we galvanize them in and then spawn out these events online? So that, initially, it was a little tough in thinking, but because we are such a good team and, all of us get together, you know what I'm saying? You kind of throw those ideas around, and I think that kind of helped expand it and expedite it, right? Because I think if it was just all up to myself, I'd have been like, oh my God, what do we do, right? But you have all those ideas, and we just said, okay, there are some things we could probably come up with where we could still probably get some type of interaction and engagement, online. We just need to try to get them online in the same room, so to speak. So, initially it was kind of shocking. I'm gonna tell you what was crazy though, Brittany. Watch this. We took a brick and mortar college and, that had an online college aspect to it, but we turned the institution upside down in 3 weeks and became a completely online institution. Now, and that's including all the HCC employees, faculty, staff. I mean, we all, and people were running around, kind of crazy, but I mean, here we are, three and a half months later. I mean, we are in this thing. So yeah, it was shocking, and I'm sure, I could probably ask the same to you, you know what I'm saying? Just being able to try to make the adjustment, because we are what we call the engaging type of people, and we're people, right? We like people, right? I interact directly with people. So yeah, to kind of stick me in a corner and say, this is what you're gonna have to do from now on is, for safety reasons, I get it. Golly, man, it's a transition and a change, but I think we've embraced it pretty well.
I totally agree, Karl, and because being part of social media, and Frank can attest to this as well, we've been to a lot of the student life events at Central Campus, and y'all get it going. Let's just call it what it is. Y'all definitely get the students engaged, whether it's with the snow cones or Mardi Gras, because that was my first time ever doing Mardi Gras at HCC, and it was fantastic. The turnout
that was pre-COVID. So that was a good, that was a good lead in, I guess, to get your last little walk in.
Exactly. So Karl, you all do various remote activities, such as your Student Life Live podcast that you do every Monday, and you guys get a great turnout of audience.
That Student Life Live is something that we conceived to be able to say. We said, okay, we don't have this whole writing content to be able to do something every day, but let's just try to do something each week, since we're going to be presenting different engagements each week. So it's a small platform that just allows them to kind of come in and see some of their familiar faces, some of the student life coordinators and rec sports specialists, and say, okay, oh, there's my rec sports, or oh, there's my, that kind of thing. Know we're okay, first of all, and then second of all, hey, we got something for you. So shout out to Dr. Hamilton. She's been very supportive and trying to help galvanize how do we still give them something for competing or participating in something. You know what I'm saying? So the next thing is to try to figure out how to really loop in our SGAs, our other organizations, and how they can still talk to the student body. So we're trying to figure out that nuance. But for the most part, Student Life Live is a cool thing. You know what I'm saying? And I think we slowed down a little bit for the summer, trying to get ideas together for the fall. So I think we're going to do one more next week, and then we're going to kind of let it kind of sit for the summer, and then we'll jump back off probably in mid to late August. And try to roll out something each week, because we got a lot of planning to do. So, yeah.
Now, definitely, Karl, because for HCC, it's the first from being a in-session school, physically going to school, then going remotely online. And one of our biggest events, if not the biggest event, is graduation. So talk a little bit about the virtual graduation party that Student Life hosted.
Yo, that was big. Outside of HCC, of course, those that don't know, I'm an MC extraordinaire, so I do a lot of huge celebrity parties. I do a lot of huge events, using the microphone. That's just what I do. That's what I've been doing for the last 28 years, right? So when the COVID-19 kind of hit, again, I was booked at all these places to be able to MC these huge parties, and everything just kind of came to a screeching halt. So I jumped online. Me and some of the DJs I work with, and we just started garnering these huge followings, 400 and 500 people watching at a time, and 20,000, views at the end of the night type thing. So I was like, you know what? We could probably do something like this similar to HCC and do celebratory things. Like, we're getting ready to do it again, but it's going to be for Independence Day, celebration. So just so that you all know, that's coming up. I think it's going to be July 2nd, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so that's going to be exciting. And me and Go DJ High C from 97.9 The Box, we will do this huge celebration, and, for about an hour or two, and probably give away a few things. Student Life is, putting it all on. So I think that's going to be kind of fun too. But yeah, the celebration for graduation was crazy, and they were up in there, and they were participative. And, just all the comments and the excitement of, finishing, at least having some sense of normalcy, because you're not able to go on stage. It's like, this has all been so disconnecting. And it's like, man, my graduating year of 2020 has been soured. So for a brief moment, we gave everybody That's why I say the monotony breakers. We gave everybody a moment to just forget about all that just for this little second, and let's have a great time and just truly kick it. And I think they did, because we got a lot of feedback from it, and that was really live. So yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. That was good.
Frank, did you have something for Karl?
I do. Karl, like you do a great job putting together these events and really galvanizing and really gaining a lot of traction with the student body. Unfortunately, with the recent events, the police violence with the Black Matters movement, George Floyd and Breonna Taylor, a lot of unfortunate events dealing with police violence. How have you guys corresponded with that with virtual events on campus?
So ironically, last week was we dedicated a week to being able to address social issues as it relates to African Americans. It was Juneteenth, of course, last week, Juneteenth week. So we did something each day last week, and it was inspiring to see the amount of people that kind of chimed in. We had a huge platform on June, I think it was June 18th, the day before Juneteenth, and we had some speakers in there. We had and I forget their name, so I don't want to misquote, but we had Miss Campbell, who is an activist and a national motivational speaker. She was on, and then I forget the lady's name, but she did the autopsy for Sandra Bland. She was on, and we had a couple other people that were on the platform, along with Sade Campbell, of course, and she was moderating it. But it went really well, and basically they just kind of talked about some of the challenges and issues as it relates to African Americans, and how stereotypes, how preconceived notions, challenge, the movement, and how people are seen. And that's kind of some of the same stuff that we're dealing with this week. This week is Pride Week. Well, it's Pride Month, but we're celebrating Pride Week, for those that are part of the LGBTQ plus community, because they're looking at a similar lens in its own sense, the lens of being able to have preconceived notions, have challenges that they deal with, as well as it relates to their civil rights. Now, here's the funny thing, Frank. The one thing that I just kind of chime in across, and this is the dimmed down version, is that all across the board, I think people cheat themselves with letting preconceived notions and stereotypes stop them from developing relationships, right? Because business relationships, friendships, community friendships, neighbors in neighborhoods. So a lot of people are great people, but people don't get a chance to really allow those to be able to kind of be adapted to, because they already have their preconceived notions about who those people are based on, some of the images and everything that they've seen out in the world. And that's the one thing that we try to get across to people, is like, don't let it cloud you. I get it. We all develop, preconceived notions about any and everything based on something either we've heard, we've read, or we've seen. But for the most part, allow your own self the due diligence of being able to get to know someone strictly for who they are, and not for what you feel like they're involved in, or whatever the case may be. And that's the one thing that we're trying to make sure we transcend across, because if all the student life coordinators, we're multiracial pot, right? So it's we have some of everybody in, so we kind of make sure we stay on the standard. And most of us, even in our teams inside of here, or the teams inside of communications, we're all from different racial backgrounds and likenesses and what have you. But the biggest thing about it is we work together as people and teams, and we have a great time. And I think that if people will allow that to be able to come and play, it'd probably be a better world. Again, that's like, asking for, milk and cookies. That's a hard one to do sometimes. So hopefully, we're still embracing and growing as a people. And man, those are unfortunate events, still, pull the rug back that, racism is something that is an ugly, ugly power, and it still exists humongously in this world.
Absolutely. Yeah. Karl, we're gonna say goodbye to you, and we appreciate
okay.
We appreciate everything.
I'm gonna hang out with y'all.
We appreciate everything that you and student life across the district do for our students, just with all these remote virtual activities. I know you guys got an event that's going on tomorrow, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. So we appreciate you being here, and stick around as we chime in for some other things. But I'm going to turn the time over to Dr. McWhinney. Thank you so much again for joining us, Dr. McWhinney. Let's see if we can unmute you. Oh, we're having a little bit of technical difficulties of unmuting you, Dr. McWhinney. There we go. All right, we finally got it going, Dr. McWhinney. I apologize for that delay, but good morning once again, sir.
Good morning. Excited to be here.
We're
And,
excited.
Karl being there, I feel like I'm at home. I see him every day, a lot of energy, and that's what it's all about.
Absolutely. But we want to talk to you a little bit about the outdoors because during this time of COVID, where we took the outdoors maybe for granted, now we're really wanting to, get out there because we've been in this quarantine, if you will. So, for people who are interested in parks and recreation type environments, such as a forest ranger, and such. Could you talk a little bit about what programs we have to offer here at HCC through the Horticulture Club program?
Well, the interesting thing about the horticulture program in the midst of COVID is we're now at home, and we've seen a lot of activities where the outdoor, especially around the home, are very important. And we've seen a uptake in purchases, uptake in planting and floriculture and herbal gardening, and all sort of activities are going on because we were at home. And we see the same thing, even our students. We try to get our students to be involved in the summer, and they're all out working, and they're active. So yes, there is no limit right now to the capacity for horticulture and agriculture in this crisis.
So, as an instructor, how has remote instruction affected your programs from being in the classroom, being hands-on, to now having to teach it virtually?
Okay, one of the interesting thing that we have at Katy is the greenhouse. So I happen to have access to the greenhouse and was able to go in and take pictures and send these pictures to our students. For example, I was teaching a class on shrubs and trees, plants. So the identification, the characterization, and the biology of these plants are very important. So I was able to upload these plants and send them to my students, and basically lay out their projects just like we would on normal circumstances, and it worked perfect. One of the challenges that I've had is our students are very savvy. They're very quick, and before you know it, they're basically feeding me, and I'm like, it's 11:30, it's 12 o'clock, it's 1 o'clock, and I'm still on the computer. Cool down, guys. Let me take control of this. So it worked out very, very great this past semester. And I had some experience teaching online before. Well, I've taught general biology online, and was able to not have to go back and learn all of this, but just step it up to the higher level, and it worked out perfectly well.
That's fantastic. You mentioned earlier about Katy, and when I was introducing you earlier, I said that both you and Karl were from Central. So because you mentioned Katy campus, you all are located in a new state-of-the-art building. Is that correct?
We are building a new state-of-the-art building.
Perfect.
So the new campus will house a new horticulture building, which we've last week we have made a final selection on that building. But we're not limited to Katy. What we're trying to do is spread the horticulture program throughout the different campuses, Northeast, the 288 campus. Central has the culinary arts program where we're looking at herbal garden. There's a lot of things in the making currently that are gonna come to fruition soon.
That sounds incredible. We've checked out the Culinary Arts building, the new building over at Central Campus, and I would love to see the collaboration between culinary arts and horticulture. Dr. McWhinney, could you talk a little bit about the scholarship and internship program that HCC has, as well as the Yellowstone Landscape Company?
Don't get me started on this.
Okay, in short words.
Okay, well, we were approached by Yellowstone Landscape Company, and James Mabel and Jill Asser sort of arranged this with Lisa All from Yellowstone. And we were shocked when they offered HCC $5,000 a year scholarship that is going into the HCC Foundation for our students. And they are open to taking our students for internship after they have completed HCC. Currently, there is a 100% employment of all of our students. We don't have enough students to put into the industry. And that's one of the reasons why they're saying to us, here is a package of money. We need your students and we need to help the program. We're so excited about it.
What an incredible opportunity for students who have an interest in horticulture to take advantage of that scholarship, and then to know that there's a 100% employment.
Yes.
Right. That is truly incredible. So while we're on that topic of employment, Dr. McWhinney, could you talk a little bit about what kind of jobs are students going to get with their associate's degree?
Most of these jobs are managerial jobs. Landscape design, which involve computer technology and CAD, that type of activity. Supervisory jobs, contract jobs where you negotiate contracts, maintenance jobs. We're not talking about just regular yard work. Yes, that is involved, but that's not where we are. We're at a completely different level. So our students are looking at $50,000 a year starting.
Wow.
All the way up. Yes.
Wow. That is a great number to start off with
Yes.
an associate's degree from HCC. I do understand that you all actually are involved in a dual credit program with a high school.
Yes, we are working on that, and it's there's a lot of interest in that. What we're trying to do is look at the younger group that is coming out, give them an opportunity to choose their career in various aspects of agriculture, and horticulture is one of them. And there's a lot of interest in that. And so there are some USDA grants that we're looking at to assist these students that are coming in from the high schools into our program.
Doctor, can you give us some more info about the TNLA workshops and the continuing ed credits as well?
Yes. TNLA, Texas Nursery and Landscape Association, have worked with us over the years. Actually, they serve as one of our governing bodies. We have bi-yearly meetings with them to make sure that our program is in sync with the industry, and also they provide certification for our students. So TNLA have been working with us to make sure that we're maintained at the level that we should, and that our students are guaranteed jobs. So every year there's at least 4 workshops, and we at HCC host one of the largest workshop. Um, what we do is we encourage vendors to come in, encourage the educational aspects of TNLA to come in, and our students participate and are involved in the entire process of these workshops. And at the end of the workshop, the different audience will get their certification upgraded or maintained. So that's the purpose of our relationship with TNLA: education, certification, and continued education.
Fantastic. Dr. McWhinney, last question before we wrap. Can students transfer to a 4-year university to get a bachelor's degree in horticulture?
Yes. And in fact, I was talking with Dr. Hodge yesterday evening, and we're working on a transfer program to Texas A&M, and there are scholarships there. And it's the COVID crisis have slowed us down a little bit, but that is one of our priority, and he is very active in ensuring that that articulation agreement will be in place so that there's a seamless transfer of our students into these 4-year programs. We're very excited about this because that's what we're here for. Once they have the foundation, they can then transfer to these 4-year institutions, and they will do extremely great. And we're excited about that.
It certainly is something to be quite excited about. Dr. McWhinney from the Horticulture program, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate your input and all the things that you're doing for our students at HCC.
And thank you for inviting me. And guys, I really enjoy it, and I look forward in coming back soon, not too far in the future, and promote our program. Thank you.
You're the man, Doc. You're the man.
Thank you so much. Frank Cooper is joining me again for announcements and events going on at HCC. And Frank, we actually have some congratulations to give to our Coleman College Respiratory Therapy Program.
We do. They are being called unsung heroes in the fight against COVID. They are the ones who incubate patients with any kind of life or death respiratory illness, certainly with this one as well. The RRT credential is considered a measure of success in inspiring graduates to achieve their educational and professional goals. Also with the award, Coleman's RRT graduates are more likely to be sought after for employment since the program met the key criteria of accreditation.
That's right. So congratulations to the respiratory therapy program at HCC Coleman for their Distinguished RRT Credentialing Success Award for the Commission of Accreditation for Respiratory Care. Congratulations once again to the program. If you are interested in more information about our respiratory therapy program, please go online to hccs.edu/respiratory. We've got some announcements going on for our faculty and staff virtual coffee breaks, which is happening this morning, Frank, at 11 a.m.
Yep, Marsha Hines, Chief Facilities Officer, will be hosting the 11 a.m. conference, and then Thursday, the 25th, Dr. Tita Marinado, our Chancellor, grab a cup of coffee and join Janet May and our guests to learn how to adapt to remote work and get answers to some frequently asked questions. Check your emails and register, okay?
That's right. So if you're checking your emails, that's how you can register. This is open to HCC family, which is our faculty and staff. MBDA is hosting a virtual subs and sandwiches with GE Dunn Company. Now, unfortunately, we can't provide you the subs and sandwiches ourselves, but if you go out before this WebEx forum, you definitely can still participate in the spirit of this. This is happening tomorrow, Wednesday, June 24th from 11:30 a.m. to 1. For more information about the meeting, we'll be posting it in this podcast. Rec Sports. Karl, I'm going to kind of shift this to you a little bit. Rec Sports and student life and HCC athletics all kind of fall into one little happy party, don't y'all?
Yeah, we do. I think that we have quite a bit going on, but definitely Rec Sports has the boot camp coming up in order to follow, some of the events. And that's my son in the background, so y'all know it's going down over here. But Rec Sports, if you want to follow them on IG, they are HCCS Athletics, and definitely look on there because they have some boot camps coming up this week. We want to make sure people somewhat stay active because y'all know we are locked and loaded. And being locked and loaded means we are in this house, and to be able to just get down and do some sit-ups, sometimes while you look over at the couch, that is a challenging thing, right? So somewhat you can do, you can be able to log onto the computer and you can get inside of some of their boot camps that they have going on. I think that's a great thing. As far as us, student life, I think it's tomorrow. No, I think it's June 25th. That's Thursday, right? So June 25th, we have a Pride Month speaker, because again, we're celebrating Pride Month for LGBTQ, but we have a Pride Month speaker. His name is Brandon Mack, and he will be discussing the intersectionality, between race, gender identity, and sexual orientation. So he's going to basically relate his experience of being a part of the Black Lives Matter movement and fighting for LGBTQ plus rights in Houston. So I think there's going to be a very interesting discussion / speech. And I want to make sure you all get a chance to be able to be there. And again, it's going to be June 25th. It's going to be at 1:00 p.m. And the way that you become a part of that is you need to go to hccs.edu/student events. That's hccs.edu/student events. And make sure you stay, inside of there, because I think he's going to do a huge question and answer situation too, because he wants to be able to kind of really get a chance to talk to our students. The other thing that we want to make sure that we keep in mind is that in order to be able to follow some of our upcoming events, which is basically, celebration of Independence Day, and then we're going to also do a couple of talent shows in July. To be able to know when those dates are coming up, beforehand, just stay locked onto our Instagram, which is the HCC Student Life, and make sure that you follow us on Instagram. Outside of that, Britt, man, that's all we got for this week. But at the same time, keep us posted. I love what you guys are doing as far as up to the minute is concerned.
Oh, I appreciate it, Karl. Thank you so much. Well, we've gone a little bit over our time, so we're going to go ahead and wrap here. But please join us again tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. as we are bringing on Israel Garza, who is the West Houston Institute's Idea Space, or he's from there, and he'll be talking about the program's work with virtual reality and 3D printing. That sounds pretty cool, Frank.
You know what, man? I need some new masks and I need some new Nike shoes, so we can create some shoes via printing. I'm down for it, man, because I ain't got Nike money right now, so.
I know. And we're also going to welcome back our chief, Greg Cunningham, who's going to return to talk with us a little bit about the HCC Police Department and what's going on around HCC. So once again, we appreciate you all for joining us today. Be sure to like us on our social media platforms. And Frank, we'll see you again tomorrow morning at 10 a.m.
Yes, ma'am. Y'all be blessed.